The matters listed below are those reasonably anticipated by the chair, which may be discussed at the meeting. Not all items may be in fact discussed, and other items not listed may also be brought up for discussion to the extent permitted by law. And if you could all please join me in a moment of silence.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
if we could we dedicate the moment of silence to our Foreign Language Department Chair, Maria Branchino, who passed away this morning?
Absolutely.
She was a really valued member of our staff, a longtime teacher, an amazing woman with a wonderful career, and absolutely brilliant with foreign languages, and she will be sorely missed by not only the schools, but by the community. Thank you
for that. Okay, thank you. All right, we're going to go right to the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we are going to go out of order tonight, and I'm going to jump to Mrs. Murphy.
Thank you, Mr. Arnott.
You're welcome.
Tonight we have a few presentations that we're going to begin with. I would like to invite the Planet Aid, Inc. up to join us for their short presentation.
Could you just introduce yourselves, please?
Good evening. My name is Steve Dibble. I'm the Business Development Manager for Planet Aid. I brought with me tonight Greg Nesta, and the New England Director for Planet Aid, graduate of Peabody High School.
Fantastic.
Okay. Keith Gregory.
Awesome.
Great, thank you. And also a lifelong resident of Peabody. I live in Salem, sorry. Lifelong resident of Peabody. Planet Aid is a 501c3. Is my cell phone too close, or is it my phone?
Yeah, just try to move it a little bit.
Is that better?
Yeah. Oh.
Maybe not. All right. Is it yours?
Is it yours?
I don't know who's.
Is it us?
Might be those two too close.
Yeah, maybe.
There you go. Wasn't me after all.
There you go.
Planet Aid got its start in Lynn, Massachusetts. A bunch of young people decided to make a difference in the planet. We outgrew our facility, moved to Lawrence, moved to Holliston, and finally we're in Milford right now in a giant facility. We have more solar panels on our roof than anywhere else in the United States, or in Massachusetts rather, on the rooftop. And everything that we do is for people or for the planet, for the environment. We give monies to over 100 nonprofits here in Massachusetts, including Beverly Bootstraps, My Brother's Table, St. Joseph's Food Pantry in Salem, and Haven for Hunger here in Peabody. Okay. In addition to that, we give a lot of clothes and other things away to help people. For example, the No Child in Peabody Goes Hungry program. It's Planet Aid that furnishes all the backpacks for that program. We gave 1,500 backpacks last year. We don't brag about it, we just do it, and we move on. We really try to focus with things happening all around the world, that people that really need help. For instance, in Mozambique, Africa, every day we feed 86,000 kids at schools that we built, and we pay for the teachers. In India, 19,000 children went through our schools, 386 schools last year. These are children who have never gone to school before, come into our schools, and then they transfer to the regular public elementary schools. So of the 19,000 kids, 9,000 this year were able to transfer. Not all of them, a little bit, almost half, but otherwise they wouldn't even go to school at all. So we do things like this all around the world. And where do we get our money to do these things? Including working with fisheries in Brazil and Bangladesh and all over Africa, Central America, South America, all around the world. We're helping people. We have these yellow bins that you can see in the folders, and we accept donations of clothes and shoes and household items and other things from the public. Mostly clothes and shoes is where we make our money. We sell the clothes and shoes to thrift stores all around the world, and a portion of the clothes we donate to people that are in need. If there's an emergency, a volcanic eruption, a typhoon, or homeless shelters in Boston, in Lawrence, and all around, well, here in Peabody too. We give a substantial amount of the clothes away to people that need them. And with that, I'd like to turn this over to Greg Nesta, who can talk about why we're here today. We're reaching out to Peabody, who we already help. We have our donation bins are at 5 municipal properties now for many years. The skating rink, Brooksby Farm, the Peabody Institute Library, the Meadows Golf Course, and the Ross Memorial Park. Some of them have been there for a long time, and a portion of the monies and a portion of the proceeds go back to help the library, to help the skating rink, to help Brooksby Farm. Those are good programs, but the lion's share of the money will go to help people all around the world, including here in Peabody, in the North Shore, and in Massachusetts. With that, Greg Nesta.
Thank you. Thank you for having us here tonight. So the process that we're looking to do is, like I said, in the packets I handed out to everyone, the very first page is probably the most important page on there that explains how the process works. We currently have probably over 40 schools in New England that have our bins currently at school systems. What we do is, if approved, what happens is I go in and I meet with the principals at each location. And what we do is I will walk the site with either the facilities manager or the principal and pick an ideal location for the bin. Once that happens, there's two options. The school itself, we pay 7 cents a pound for all the clothes that are donated and the shoes. We pay 7 cents a pound for that, and you can either A, keep it directly to the school, so this school could receive the funds, we pay quarterly 4 times a year, or they can donate to the PTO at each location. So it's the principal's, it's up to the principal to decide how they want to receive the funds that we pay quarterly. So, like I said, I meet with the principal, well, usually, like I said, the facilities manager, and they decide the best location for the bin. And basically, it's also a great way, if you look at the first page, to teach the students how important it is to keep the clothing and textiles out of the landfills. We also do clothing drives. In April, we'll do a clothing drive. We'll have one of our trucks come up here on a Saturday, and we can run contests between all the schools to who donates or gathers the most clothing. And like I said, some of those funds they can buy computers with. It's up to the schools to do whatever they want with the monies that, they keep it in a private, like a free-flowing cash fund at the school. So, like I said, it's a pretty easy process, and that's kind of why we're here tonight in a nutshell. And like I said, there's other pages on there that show our whole process with the bins, how we place them, and that's basically it, like I said. So,
Thank you.
I don't know if you have any questions for us or Steve, but
Well, thank you all for being here tonight. It was a great presentation. They're very recognizable bins, of course.
Yeah.
I think we've all seen them probably out and about in the community. We appreciate the work that you do. I don't know if any of my colleagues have any comments, but I think what might be best is perhaps if we try to set up a time for you to meet with the superintendent and some of the leadership staff here in the district and some of the schools and go from there. I think that might be a good direction to go in. I don't know if any of my colleagues have any comments or questions. It's done.
Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. Presently, we are involved with another program similar to yours with the Bay State Textile Organization. And how does your Planet Aid work as far as with recycling of the clothes? How does that work?
I'll take it. Yeah. The majority, if not all of the entities that collect clothes and shoes, all process it the same way. They're packaged up and shipped through a broker, and most of the companies, if you would, and the nonprofits use the same broker. And they're sold off to thrift stores all around the world. It's the same process. They have a category called credentials, and everybody follows basically the same rules, all done the same way. What really differs is whether you're using a for-profit company, which you're using now, and they give a little bit back to the schools. We give the same amount back or a little bit more, and on top of that, we help people in Peabody, and everything that we do goes back to help people in Massachusetts and all around the world. So we're a nonprofit, we're a 501c3. 100% of the clothes and shoes donated to us does not go in our pocket or buy a bigger Mercedes like our competition does. It goes to help people in the environment all around the world, including the 1,500 backpacks that we give every year to your school system. I hope that answers your question. There's a big difference between who you use now. Bay State Textile, they're a for-profit company, and we're much, much larger than they are. Many more trucks. We'll service the heck out of the bins.
Sure.
All of our bins are insured. We have 27 trucks in Greater Boston that go out 6 days a week, and 3 trucks that go out on Sundays. When we say we'll service it as often as needed, including daily, I mean it. A Stop and Shop in In Lynn, we're there 7 times a week, emptying the bins. Stop and Shop in Revere, we're there 13 times a week, emptying their bins. They fill up, and then they fill up again.
Can I ask, how many other school districts in the area do you work with? Just out of curiosity.
Quite a few. We have 3,400 locations in Massachusetts with bins, and most of those are with municipalities or with private businesses, and then some school districts, Hamilton, Wenham, Essex, they're scattering. I'm not familiar with all this. I work with businesses mostly.
Sure.
So you guys can answer the school districts better than I can. But we do have bins at quite a few schools, a lot in New Hampshire and Vermont and Maine, but quite a bit. Well, Bay State Textiles, they went after schools first, and we stayed with businesses and grew that way. So again, 3,400 locations, probably more than that now, maybe 3,500 or so in Massachusetts alone we have.
I can send you the list of schools if you'd like. I can email it to you, Kara, if that's okay. I can get that available to you tomorrow, just so you can see the list of current people that do, school systems that do work with.
Sure. Ms. Stout?
Just one follow-up. Prior to taking a vote on this, I would like to have some of the input from the mayor on behalf of the city. When we first got into this with the Bay State Textiles, it had come to us through the city, through research at the Community Development Office. So I would like to hear, some input on his side as well.
Yeah, I think we'll take a look at this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Anyone else have any comments? Oh, Mr. Hockman.
Thank you. And thank you, Planet Aid, for the presentation tonight. And you do donate backpacks to our program, our No Child Goes Hungry in Peabody program. I think you might be overstating it at 1,500, and it's not all of the backpacks. And we have thousands of people in their living rooms right now listening, and a lot of those people have donated backpacks to us as well. So you've donated a fair amount of backpacks to us, and we certainly appreciate it. I just wanted to make it clear to anyone that's listening that we receive donations from several other sources. And you've actually come up in key times. We've had an opportunity to talk directly, and when we've had a little bit of a shortage, we've made a call, and every time we've made a call to Planet Aid, we've gotten backpacks within 24 hours.
Right.
So you guys have been a tremendous service to us, and we appreciate it.
And that commitment will go forward as well.
Yeah, no, frankly, I think that commitment's going to go forward regardless of what we do. Yeah, no, and Planet Aid's been a big partner with other programs, like we were just talking briefly, the firefighter Pimenta, who passed away unexpectedly, has had some fundraisers that Planet Aid has supported as well, and so that's noted and appreciated. And I like Mr. Arnottis' recommendation to have you folks sit down with our superintendent and see what we can get done here.
Okay.
All right?
Thank you.
Thank you, thank you.
One question. We have a video from the drone that shows the entire operation, how we process everything within the facility. Would you like me to send it to you?
It's 2 minutes long.
You'll be able to see everything that we do within everything.
2 minutes, let's play it and go.
Oh, I don't have it.
Oh.
Sorry,
I'll have it with me. Feel free just to pass all the information on to the superintendent. We'll go from there. Thank you all for your presentation today. We appreciate it. We'll definitely take everything under consideration, and we'll go from there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Good to see you.
Thank you, Greg. Nice to see you.
Thank you very much. Nice meeting you.
Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. We will continue with some pieces of the superintendent's report and go to the digital literacy responsible use procedure. Okay.
Okay. Tonight, I'd like to invite Emily Moore, digital literacy coach and learning coach here at Higgins Middle School, and she is going to, in your packet, there is something that a wonderful group of teachers and administrators and staff have been working on and working toward, and Emily is going to share that with us with the digital literacy responsible use procedure. It's in our packet.
Yep.
Emily?
Yep. Good evening, everyone. So I've had the pleasure of, over the last 2 years, working with educators across the district from all levels, K to 12, and we were faced with the task of preparing a curriculum to help our students really master digital citizenship so that we know that they can we're handing them Chromebooks and handing them technology, and they're using the technology in a way that is responsible and respectful. So we started with the digital literacy and computer science state standards. We then identified the standards from K to 12 that were related to digital citizenship and worked to break them down into what those standards are really asking students to do and to know. We were then able to categorize them into 3 different categories: protecting themselves, protecting others, and protecting school property. We wrote learning objectives and I can statements, and that's what you see with a responsible use procedure in front of you. We realized very quickly that there are some things that are on there that our students are probably already doing, and maybe some areas that needed a little bit more support. We talked to our teachers and our colleagues, talked to students, spent some time thinking about maybe where some of our strengths and weaknesses lied, and from there realized that we needed to support our teachers with this document and helping to support them and roll it out. So we worked to develop professional development. That's all vertically aligned because it all stems from the learning objectives in the digital literacy and computer science state standards. We also prepared professional development at all levels that's also aligned to this document. Our hopes is that we can better support our students and know that they will use the technology that they have responsibly, and that we are taking responsibility for really educating them completely.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Emily.
All right. Questions, comments from the committee? We'll have to make a decision on whether to make a vote on this tonight or perhaps send it to Quality and Standards for review. So I think that would be the will of the committee. Mrs. Dunn.
Actually, I'll be honest, where we had this in our packet, I do believe the full school committee could vote on this.
Okay.
This is, having read it myself, in my opinion, it's very straightforward. It's nicely presented. I think it's broken down by appropriate grade level and
Yep.
language. Parental input is required on every single
Yes.
paper. I think it's really good. My question right now is, would this be handed out separately, or is this going to be included with student handbooks? Do you know which way it was going to go?
That's something that I wanted to bring to the committee and ask, because this is something new that we are introducing. And I do think, I agree with you, Mrs. Dunn, that it is very strong, and the team of teachers that worked on it was, they did a phenomenal job.
It is good. I know that we had a general responsible use in the handbooks. And I don't know how, I know that when the students get and of course everything's online now, but when you would be faced at the beginning of the school year with the stack of papers to sign and to, authorize everything, not that things would get lost in the messaging, but I think this one is so important that it might need to stand alone. If it were included in the handbook, I think we have just one page that comes back saying, I hereby, I read the book, I authorized everything.
Yep.
This is really so necessary nowadays. I would like to see it as a standalone.
I can also add, as part of our work this year, we also developed, I'm a data person, so we developed a pre and post test to hand out to our students. I want to make sure that when we are thinking about what lessons we need to start planning and how we need to start rolling this out to students and to teachers, that we really know where the strengths and weaknesses lie. So each level worked to develop a aligned pre and post test that's aligned specifically to that document, so that we can clearly make sense of where we need to focus our energies and our efforts, and that might be an area where we can also connect this document to, possibly.
Yeah, that's the thing. Things have changed since we had that original, responsible use form. It used to just be kind of like, yes, I'll be good on the internet and I'll take care of the computer. Now, it's actually, computer safety, internet safety, it all has to be truly taught and accepted by people, and I think it's a class by itself now. So I think it's much more than that pro forma sign-off.
digital citizenship. Mr.
Yep.
Yes.
That's what it is, yeah. Mr. Amico?
Thank you, through the chair. Thank you for your presentation. That was great. I agree with Ms. Dunn. I do think this is so important that it should stand alone. But I don't see any harm with not only having it as a standalone, but also keep it in the handbook as an addendum as well. It's a digital handbook now, correct?
It is.
Yeah, so I don't see why we can't have it as a standalone and also as an addendum or part of the student handbook itself, because it is that important. Maybe they should read it twice.
Yes.
Okay. Mr. Hockman?
Yeah, my only thought to that is perhaps with the insurance that parents purchase or someone
Yep.
purchases, maybe append it to that as
Yep.
well as in a couple of places. And my last thought is, and I kind of was joking to myself as I thought it, but then as I'm reading this, the 9 to 12 form a little bit more.
Yeah.
Can we also extend this to staff that gets? I initially
Yeah.
had that reaction, but I'm
Yeah.
not being unserious. I don't know what the.
No.
I'm being serious about staff, at least that staff that gets devices from the district. I mean, I understand that we're tying this to a device that's coming from the district. I won't ask for any action on that tonight, but just a
Yeah.
thought.
Okay. All right. I think it might be the right direction to move forward with this. Maybe we do the standalone, take that up maybe at a different time. But if we have a motion tonight on this portion of it?
I'd like to make a motion to follow the recommendation of the superintendent and to utilize the responsible use agreement, grades K through 12 as prepared and presented to us tonight for students in the upcoming school year.
Second.
Okay, roll call, please.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Moore, for being here tonight.
All right, we will now move to Jack Wood's presentation, Heroes Among Us.
Okay. In 1 second, Jack, I have lots to say, my friend. Lots to say. All right. It is a pleasure and an honor to bring this item forward tonight. Jack has been a role model for 8th grade students and his high school peers. Jack was a Project 351 ambassador as well as a senior leader council member. Jack Woods is here tonight to talk about Boston Celtics Playbook Initiative. However, before he does so, I need to speak about Heroes Among Us. Heroes Among Us is quite a prestigious recognition and was established as an initiative by the Boston Celtics in 1997. It is one of their premier community outreach programs in professional sports. The Heroes Among Us Award is presented to individuals who have made an impact on the lives of others and lasting contributions to the community. Jack was chosen as a hero among us with his mentor, Principal Todd Busey. Jack is being honored on August 13th at the State House as part of the Celtics annual celebration of season's Heroes Among Us. We are extremely proud of both Jack and Principal Busey. The motto of Project 351 is Unite, Act, Lead, and the motto of the Peabody Public Schools is Every Student, Every Day. Both Jack and Mr. Busey have truly followed those mottos. Jack graduated a few weeks ago from Peabody Veterans Memorial High School and will attend University of New Hampshire. We wish Jack the best of luck as he has such a bright future ahead. As for Principal Busey, I want to thank him for his leadership, kindness, and compassion as he leads the largest middle school in the state and is a mentor for students as well as his peers. Thank you for your dedication to the Peabody community as you just completed your 10th year as Higgins Middle School principal. And at this time, I would like to invite Jack up to talk about the Celtics Playbook Initiative.
All right, okay. Hi, everyone. Thank you for that introduction. Thank you very much. All right. So, as Ms. Muratagi said, I'm here to talk about the Playbook Initiative. And the Celtics came up with the idea of the Playbook Initiative in the 2016-2017 season as a way to leverage the power of sport and to seek the, oh wait, I already messed up. As to leverage the power of sport and the appeal on the Celtics on engaging middle schoolers in critical plaguing societal issues. So now we fast forward to the 2017-2018 season in October 2 middle schools were involved as kind of like the guinea pigs for this, and they actually came up with this playbook, which is loaded with all different types of scenarios for other middle schoolers that we later on presented in March here with 30-plus 7th graders. And the 2 middle schools were Lawrence and North Andover. And in December, I went to a summit with Project 351, which I've been a part of since 8th grade. And they introduced the playbook to Project 351 for people to apply to become playbook trainers. So I decided to apply to become a playbook trainer and bring it to Peabody, since we have one of the most diverse middle schools, and arguably one of the most diverse middle schools in the state. So I ended up being able to become a playbook trainer, and I had to go back to the Arbach Center, which is the Celtics training facility, in February. And we had to learn how to facilitate this workshop, which we brought back here in March, like I said, to the 30-plus 7th graders. And then in April, we got to go to Dave & Buster's and kind of have a celebration, but also do some more scenarios with the other 14 schools that were involved in this playbook initiative. So we were kind of like the guinea pigs for it, to see how well it would work and how it would spread throughout the state. And I got to meet Al Horford, who came to Dave & Buster's and sat in my group. And it was kind of nerve-wracking for me, because I was like, oh my God, it's Al Horford, like, wow. So I was just hoping not to mess up or anything. I was in pure panic mode, but it was really cool just to see what he thought about it, since he was one of the pioneers of it, and he helped Dave Hoffman, who was the leader, basically the leader of this, create it. It was just kind of cool to see how a professional player like him, his point of view on it, and to be able to see other kids from the other middle schools that also took part in the Playbook Initiative. And just to see what they thought about it was pretty eye-opening for me. And then the day after that was when all of the playbook trainers got to go to the Celtics game against the Orlando Magic, and we got recognized as Heroes Among Us on the court at the beginning of the second quarter. And now here we are today talking about it at the school committee meeting. So that's about all I have to say. If you guys have any questions. Anyone?
That's fantastic. That's a great program and great work on your part. That's huge. And we look forward to seeing you at the State House, August 13th. That'll be fantastic. Any other comments? Mrs. Dunn?
Thanks, Mr. Radnotis. Hi, Jack.
Hello.
We are very proud of you. This is quite an honor for you, but also for Peabody, and it's nice to see what you're doing. Is there any way that you'll still be involved as a college student in this, or?
I think the hope is to kind of pass the torch on to the other people who will be going through the middle school and other people who are going to be involved in Project 351. So I still want to be involved in Project 351 after high school. I'll no longer be on the Alumni Leadership Council or the SLC, but I hope to, in the future, that they have some more playbook trainers, and that this definitely is something that should stay in Peabody, in my opinion.
Well, I have no doubt you're going to be a mentor forever in every respect.
I hope so.
So, very proud of you.
Thank you so much.
This was interesting to hear about it. You know, I didn't know one of those players you were talking about. I just know they're famous. You know.
I only mentioned one of them.
I've known Jack since first grade.
Yes,
And
CCD.
he knows my lack of basketball knowledge.
Yeah.
But I know they were famous. Thank you very much. This was a really nice presentation.
Thank you.
Mr. Hoffman?
Just quickly, it's been nice watching you grow up, Jack. That was quite a presentation by a recent high school graduate, in the quality and the language that you've elected to use to convey your message to us. That was very impressive. It's just been nice. So thank you, and continued success and good luck to you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Jack. Thanks,
All
Mr.
right.
Busey. And thank you for being here tonight, Jack's family. Thank you.
Great. All right, we'll go back to approval of minutes for the June 11th, 2019 regular school committee meeting minutes.
Motion to approve.
Don't fight over it now. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, roll call.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Approval of bills for warrant A, number 4197, in the amount of $36,324.55.
I'd like to make a motion to approve warrant A, number 4197, in the amount of $36,324.55 dated June 25th, 2019, subject to audit.
Second.
Roll call vote?
Yes.
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 I'd like to make a motion to approve warrant B, number 4200, in the amount of $509,936.16, dated June 25th, 2019, subject to audit.
Second.
Roll call vote, please?
Yes.
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 Okay. We will move on to continued business, and that would be the MSBA Higgins project. Mrs. Dunn.
Thank you. The project is still ongoing. We have some new solutions that we may be utilizing for the landscaping around the building. There is a group that has videotaped the school, and at some point may be releasing a video of the amazing system that we've installed for floodwater mitigation, and keep it hanging to wait for the world premiere of the documentary. But it is an engineering feat. It is really amazing. And we also do have some things that we are still going through with, I won't say a punch list, but it's similar to a punch list with different things that, as you know, anytime if you have a car or you buy a new house, as you live in it or you drive it, you learn a lot more about it. And we've noticed some things that need to be adjusted or repaired or replaced, or just something new that may come up that you may need. So we are compiling a list of those things, and they're ongoing. But the release between the MSBA and Peabody is being prepared. So very soon we will have an actual closeout on this project.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunn. Any comments on that? We will hold the change in school start times topic, and then, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Hockman.
Yeah, thank you. On this topic, can we perhaps, I know last September, believe it or not, a full school year ago, we took a vote not to put this into a subcommittee and to handle this subject matter on the floor of the regular school committee meetings. And here we are a full school year later, and I don't think we're any further along than we were last September. And this is a subject that continues to get attention in other school districts and being addressed in other school districts that are local and nearby due to the overwhelming data that is out there for at least an evaluation of our school start times. So I don't want to, and I know that the chair of the committee isn't here tonight, and I don't want to take any action on anything. I just wanted to express a little frustration and hope that we take some time that we may have now that the budget is behind us and take this up.
Thank you for that, Mr. Hockman. I agree with you. I hope this is something that is on one of the front burners for us in the months ahead, but I think you're correct. We don't have the chair here, so it would be best to hold any action on that for now. Okay. Do you have any?
No, that's perfect.
Okay. All right, Mrs. Dunn, FY20 budget updates.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Actually, I'm very pleased to see that this is staying on the agenda. I would like to know if we have any budget updates as far as very specific questions. I'm going to take those up under new business.
Mm-hmm.
But at this moment, I'd like to know if we could get a report on any of the money coming into the district. And I know this will have to take place at our next meeting. They haven't set the, or was it today that the Conference Commission was going to come up with the education budget as far as like Chapter 70? I think That's coming. But also, just to find out, I'd like some details on any of the monies coming into the district as far as grants, the status of those, how they're going to be dispersed. And, I do have specific questions on specific items at a later time.
So I can answer at least on that level. The conference committee is working every day. They just passed a supplemental budget, just in case we go past July 1st, but we're hoping any day now. We'll have to wait and see, but we expect something coming soon. So
Okay.
we'll sit tight on that for now.
Okay, all right.
And allocations of upcoming grants have not been granted just as of yet, so I will get that to you once it does come in.
Okay.
Title I, 2, 2A, 3, 4,
Right.
Perkins, and any of the competitive grants. So once those come in, they usually come in mid-July, and we will give you those numbers as well.
Okay.
Okay?
All right. And I am glad, I'm pleased. I want to keep that on there because I think we need to discuss budget at every meeting, and this gives any member the time to ask questions about the budget, how it is, how it's going forward.
I am happy to report that the 10 teaching positions that we had to do layoffs due to retirements, due to attrition, due to resignation, 9 out of the 10 teachers are still staying in our district.
Very good.
So that is news that I wanted to bring forth.
Good. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dunn. Thank you for that, Mrs. Murtagh. That is positive news. All right, public participation. The microphone is open if anyone would like to speak. All right, we will move on to the superintendent's report. Ms. Murtagh.
Thank you, Mr. Arnaz. I'm going to turn it over to Mr. LaFleur. First and foremost, I want to thank him for a wonderful school year. He has done so much for us as the school business manager, but tonight will be his final meeting here in Peabody, and we thank him for his hard work and wish him the best of luck in his future. And he's going to present, at this point, the food service budget.
Motion to receive.
Second.
Okay. So what I've handed out here is a good first pass of a budget for food service. This is one area we were severely lacking in. So working with the superintendent and Mrs. Rose, we took the fiscal 18 data and interpolated it to 19 to see where we actually were. What I had a year ago was one food account for the entire district, one supplies account. So Mrs. Rose had a very difficult time managing the function with no data, no knowledge. So we've since broken them out approximately December or January. So every facility will be able to track the food costs, supply costs, uniforms, labor, everything. So I translated that into what we thought was the 19 budget, and you can see even at that, we were projected to lose $7,200. So bringing that forward to fiscal 20, I've also included the meal price changes you approved several weeks ago, totaling $67,000. We're actually projected to turn a positive profit of $20,000, approximately $800. That being said, if we have a major equipment failure or loss or a replacement, that'll go away. But we're in a much better place than we have been in the past, up to and including putting food service on the purchase order system. So we have a little bit more control up to and including the purchasing agent at City Hall, who's been a tremendous help with this as well. So take any questions. I think the data is as close as we can get with the incomplete data we've had in the past. I think the stage is set to have a really tight, accurate fiscal 21 budget when the time comes.
Thank you for that, Mr. LaFleur. Mr. Hoffman.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Mr. LaFleur, and thank you for your service. I think we'll get to that a little later in the meeting. But just so we're clear, because this has always kind of been a sticking point for me when I hear that food services is a net zero and maybe, within a few dollars. But this doesn't include benefits provided to food service staff, correct? This is just salaries that
That's correct.
That's correct. So there's a, and again, not making judgment one way or the other, but I think if we add benefits to salaries, I think there's a net loss to the district of about $300,000 to $400,000.
That's correct.
Yeah, okay. I just wanted everyone to at least understand what we're talking about.
Mr. Amico?
Thank you. Through the chair to Ms. LaFleur, thank you again for all you've done this year, and as Mr. Hawkins said, we'll talk about that later. Quick question. Ketchup, mustard, mayo, all those goodies, where do they fall under, food or supplies?
Food.
Food.
I think most of the supplies you see on that line are the paper goods, the trays, the utensils.
Thank you. And that also brings me to my question or comment or suggestions. And you see this in you know, in your local coffee shops and restaurants where the straws, the ketchup packets, the sugar packets, they're all, you know, set aside where people can just come over and just grab whatever they want. And I think we've all witnessed it. And, you know, with the school the size of this here at the Higgins, you know, 1,400 students or any of the others, I wonder if, and this might be a management issue, maybe we can look at the way we give out paper products or ketchup packets or mayo. And again, it may make a little bit of a difference, but there could be a cost savings there. We're looking at $761,000 in food and $158,000 in supplies. That's napkins, that's straws, that's ketchup packets, mustard, mayo, and let's face it, kids are kids. You know, we have our own, and I know what they do, and we've all been there. So I just think maybe we can look at that from a management perspective on maybe looking at our usage and see if we can make some adjustments there. We might not be able to, but it's worth a shot. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Mrs. Dunn?
Thank you, Mr. Arnottis. Ms. LaFleur, thank you. This is a really detailed report, and it's very helpful. I'm pleased to see that we are going to be able to, at least to have some data going forward, so that Ms. Rose can really run the cafeterias and food services the way she wants to, because she came in with that background, and it must have been frustrating to not have that kind of data to go forward. One of the questions that I have is when this school year begins and we have free breakfast at, do we have it at 3 schools or 2 if you happen to know?
Free breakfast, free? Welch only.
Just Welch, okay, all right. I'm looking at our federal reimbursement line. Is the free breakfast program included in that, or is that the reimbursement that comes to us for our school lunches? I know in the past it's been explained how there is federal reimbursement for school lunches. Is there any way that we can increase our reimbursement, or are there any things that we should be doing as far as being able to bring more revenue into that program, or more food or supplies or anything like that?
The first part of your question is the breakfast reimbursement is included in that number. Mrs. Rose is working with the principal of the Welch to better communicate to the parents and to the population of that school that it is free for all students, and I think we still haven't communicated that 100% as of yet. The breakfast, I think the last numbers I saw were in the 80 to 85 meals per day breakfast out of 400. So it's not being utilized like it could be. But that's more of a marketing issue for us now.
Communications and marketing, yeah. Do we have free lunch at the school as well?
Welch, yes.
At Welch, and no other school?
Correct.
It falls under the community eligibility program, so we hit a certain threshold of free or reduced, it actually becomes cost-effective to flip the entire school with the approval of the DESI.
Okay. Oh, so DESI's involved as well?
Absolutely.
Okay, it's not just a federal.
Correct.
All right. Are there any other schools on the horizon that might make that cutoff yet?
Actually, I don't think so, and I think if we had to look at the Welch today, we would not make it, but we're in a grandfathered period here. It'll be there for a few more years.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
Actually, if I could, I recently had the opportunity to chat with the folks who run what is called the program Breakfast After the Bell, which accounts for time on learning. And in their presentation that was given to me, it wasn't specifically made for Peabody, but they have a number of schools from around the state that are the top eligible schools that would, be eligible for this program. And one of them was the Welch School, just because of the high poverty level. And we actually, if we were to take advantage of this program in that school, their estimation was we would be eligible for somewhere near $60,000 in grants or reimbursements on there. You have to work with them. There are a few different ways to start that program. Obviously, you have to have the teachers and staff on board. We had some of those conversations, but I do think if we could, that would be something perhaps to take a look at going forward. I think that would be a great program. But to your point of convincing the population that that opportunity is there, I think this would be the perfect way to do it. They're in the class. There's no uncomfortableness with, I have to get to school early, or I'm eating alone while the other kids are not eating. Everyone's in it together. It's a learning experience. They get to, bring out the food. Everyone has a role. You get the milk, you get this, you get that, you clean up, you put it together. It's a group learning exercise, and it counts as time on learning under DESE. So I hope it's something we could perhaps take into consideration while we're having this conversation.
Well said, Mr. Arnott. One thing that we did put into effect this year, at the latter part of the year, is we tried hot breakfast as well, and that seems to be bringing more of the population in. So we're going to continue that next year, twice a week. So,
To Mr. Arnotis's point, we're not actually delivering breakfast into the classroom.
Right.
Because of some other limitations we have in that building.
Yeah.
But we do have a kiosk set up, so breakfast is available to those students until 10:30 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
So it is there.
So
if
they could go
so
in.
choose. Yeah, they can go get it, and we're just not delivering the full classroom
class.
complement.
Okay.
that's
Thank you.
pretty good. All right. Very good. Moving on. So in your packet this evening, you have my goals and you have the superintendent's rubric, because at the next meeting, we will be discussing the outcomes of my goals, and you will have a report from me. Tonight, I'm going to be presenting a little overview of what we have prepared as I did my entry findings throughout the school year and talking to many different, we're calling them shareholders, not stakeholders, because everybody shares in what we're doing. We had a wonderful team of teachers and parents and administration and paras and students join us. And we have a nice framework now with some objectives. And for the 19-20 school year, we're calling it an action plan, a strategic action plan. We will be putting focus groups together for the 4 areas, and I'm going to present that now in a short presentation. Sorry, technical difficulty. Do you want to continue with the agenda while that's being fixed? You can just keep going? Okay, let's do that. Once we get up and running, I'll reconnect. The next item on the agenda is the West School for Kids Only information update. As I brought forward last time, we had 4 Kids Only taking a look at the West School for a before school and after school program. It's the only school in the district in the elementary level that does not have a before and after school program. In speaking with 4 Kids Only and Mr. Kohler, the numbers show that we are eligible for a before school program. We have the numbers to have a before school program, so that's something I really want to look at. The after school, we don't have as much interest in the after school program at the West. Oh, sorry, here it is. can I just finish this one and then we'll go to that? Okay. So I'm asking for us to look at a before-school program because we do have the numbers at the West School for a before-school program. After-school program, I'm trying to look for another solution because we do not have a solid number of students for 5 days a week. We have 1 day a week, 2 days a week, but not enough to start up a program. So I would like, with your approval, to start a before-school program so I can let parents know that there will be a before-school program at the West School and let 4Kids Only know that I would like to move forward with that. I don't have a solution just yet to the after-school programming, but that's something I'm working on.
Mr. Amico?
I'd like to make a recommendation, excuse me, I'd like to make a motion to follow the recommendation of the superintendent to start an before-school program through FKO at the West School.
Second.
Mr. Hoffman?
Yeah, thank you. Through you to Superintendent Murtagh.
Yes.
In the past, didn't we have I think it was only a child or two at the West who was interested in after school that we transported to the Burke to be serviced within their program? Is that something that's, whether it be the Burke or the McCarthy, they both have after-school programs through FKO?
Yes, that's something I'm working on with FKO and also the McCarthy School. It would be the McCarthy
Yeah.
because they have a space in their program to be able to be bused. And I want to work with those families too. So that's something that I'm working on currently, and I have information for you moving forward at our next meeting.
Thank you.
Okay.
Mrs. Dunn?
In line with this discussion, and I know you'll be discussing with FKO, the West School program, are there ongoing discussions regarding the contract with FKO? Because I know we need to have that.
That is being negotiated.
Okay.
I'm working with them, and I'm just trying to figure out costs and some numbers, and I am working with Ms. Nealon and Brianna and Debbie.
Okay. In conjunction with that, could we get a report on the financial aspect of the current contract, what we've received over the years, how the program has been, how the calculations have gone forward on the funding for that?
I have that document for you.
Oh, good, thank you.
Yes, yes. I will get that to you.
Any other comment? All right, roll call vote?
Yes.
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 We have 2 building waiver requests. Ward 2 for July 4th event. With your approval?
Mrs. Dunn?
I'd like to make a motion to approve a waiver of fees for the Ward 2 July 4th event. The fee that we cannot waive is the energy fee, though. So moved.
Mr. Amico?
Through the chair to Ms. Dunn, what is the fee on that?
On the
second
energy,
fee?
the
What is
energy fee of $50, we can't waive that fee.
I'll go ahead and make that donation to waive that fee, $50 for the Ward 2 event.
Thank you, Mr. Amico. We need a vote, I believe. Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Roll call?
Yes.
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 We have a second waiver request for Ella's Army, Inc. for September 29th for the South School.
Motion to waive all fees except the utility fee for Ella's Army at the South School.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote?
Yes.
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 And I'm just going to go back to my short presentation.
Through the chair.
Mr. Amico?
I'd
sorry
like to
about
make a
that.
motion to waive, I'll be paying that fee for Ella's fundraiser as well at the South.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mr. Amico, for that generous donation. Ms. Dunn?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. LaFleur, before you go, throwing some more work your way, is it possible to have a total of the amount of fees that the school committee has waived for the past school year?
Yeah.
The reason that I ask is I think that people do need to understand how Peabody Public Schools are such a part of this community, and a lot of the decisions that go into waiving fees and allowing community organizations to use the buildings, that it does impact on the school budget, but that it is a fee that we provide to try to give back. So if you can do that, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Will do. That's easy enough. Thank you. Okay.
Keep it busy right till the end.
What happened to begin with? That's it? This is it. Here we go. Awesome. Thank you. Okay. As I said before, we had a wonderful group of educators, parents, administrators, paras, students, staff members, community members, be a part of this, starting the process of building an action plan or a strategic action plan for this district. I met with so many different people. It was an awesome experience. But gathering data. So this group helped me place things into buckets as we analyzed different things. We also used the teacher and administrator DESE performance and evaluation rubric as well to take a look at these. We compared this with the committee's, it's called a SWOT, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats analysis that we did throughout the district. And we incorporated the vision of the graduate into what we were doing. That's what I just explained there. Go ahead, one more. So first, the strengths. The whole team felt, and in all our my entry findings, that the special education program is very, very strong within the district. We have a competent and caring, committed culture. And under culture, we had strong individual school communities, and of course, the generosity of spirit, as we just saw firsthand. Some of our weaknesses that we're working on, and we've already started implementing, is systems, consistent systems in place. For instance, we have implemented the first phase of Aspen, our new student management system. We have put our purchase orders online, and we're getting a budget process under control. As my first year as superintendent, it was a challenge, but this is something that we're getting under control moving forward. We have a nice framework to proceed with. Under culture, the collaboration, teachers and administrators want more time together. That collaboration piece they felt was a little weak. So some of the things that we're going to do moving forward is that we're going to have instructional rounds as administrators and as teacher teams. Resistance to change. Change is always difficult, but that's something that came up as a weakness in our district. I will share this presentation with you after as well. Some of the opportunities that were found in the entries, budget opportunities with connecting to businesses and grants. We have such a wonderful community, as just stated by Mrs. Dunn. Everybody's lending a hand, and we feel as though that's an opportunity for us. New efficiencies, I was just talking about some new programming and some new efficiencies with the Aspen program, as well as the new purchase orders online, as well as family ID. So there's efficiencies happening within the district, and so we can track things much more efficiently. We are trying out, we're having the Parent-Student Information Center here at the Higgins, as discussed at last school committee meeting. Hopefully that will work out well for us, and I will bring back data and information to see if that was conducive to our school system, because that's something that a parent can come in with their student, go in it's like one-stop shopping. I think it's so important. So we're going to test that out this summer starting July 1st. And collaborative inter-school professional learning, as I stated a few seconds ago, that we do want, there's so much learning in every single school in the district. And we're going to be able to go around and see some of the other learning opportunities in the other schools right here in Peabody. So that's going to happen next year. Some of the threats of fundings and resources. And I think that's anywhere in any school system, but again, we're working on things. With facilities, we're working closely with the MSBA and the maintenance crew here and custodial staff here, and we're improving our facilities. The disproportionate district-wide leadership, this came up numerous times with the size of our district. We have 5 central office administrators and 10 principals for 6,100 students. And one thing that we're all working toward and working on is getting services and help to assist our students with mental health concerns. So those are some of our threats. So we decided to do this activity, and we said, what are some of the words? It's called a word blurb. And what are some of the words you think of when you come to community? And these are all the things that the team came up with. Chris? So here we are, and this is called Activate the 4 C's, and these are the 4 overarching, or we're calling them core values, with the objective that we're moving forth next year to create our action plan. So for community, our objective is to utilize our core values to embrace cultural proficiencies and empower the generosity of spirit with all of our community neighbors. The next one, we asked about curriculum. What comes to mind in your word blurb about curriculum? These are all the words that came up. Chris? In curriculum, we're going to strive toward Peabody's vision of the graduate by providing a strong, differentiated learning experience for students pre-K through 12 that promotes academic, civil, and social competence. Chris? With communication, these are the words that came up. Ooh, no, go back, thanks. Okay. To build upon consistent systems for effective communication between and amongst all shareholders. And as we all know, communication is key to everything that we do. And of course, children. Okay. That's what we're here for, every student, every day. Chris? Our next step. So each of the activate the 4 C's, each identifying core value will have a focus group starting up in the fall of this year, consisting of the people listed there. And the focus group will utilize the SWOT, the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, to create an action plan with specific tasks that align to the core value. The strategic implementation will roll out slowly and effectively because I want it to stick. I want this plan to really be effective and efficient throughout the school district, and we will document, track, and measure outcomes. So this is Activate the 4 C's. I'll take any questions that you may have.
Through the chair to Ms. Mertag, no questions, just a just a comment. The words children, communication, curriculum, and community, and I'm glad that you, obviously, these are words that we hear you say over and over and over, just in, whether it's conversations with you or in these meetings, you're always talking about children, you're always talking about communication, you're talking about curriculum, but you're talking about community, and these are so important to the success of our district, and I just want to thank you for a great first year. I know you had a lot of challenges, but you stepped up to the plate, so I really want to thank you for all you've done. And this is great, and I look forward to the next year.
Thank you.
Mrs. Dunn?
One quick question and then a longer one. Can we get a copy of the presentation?
Sure can.
Oh, good, okay. And my next question, is this district action plan, is this what would be known as a strategic plan, or is this to work towards creating a strategic plan? How do you treat this in line with the educational requirements? I know that we, in one of the coordinated reviews, it was noted that we don't have a strategic plan, and it's been a long-standing deficit on our part. So will this Will this fulfill that requirement, or is it leading into it?
So it is called a strategic plan, but we want it to be an action plan. We want to put it to action, so our team decided to call it an action plan. So this will be, right now, we have the core values, we have the objective. Now we will put the action plan in place, utilizing these 4 areas that we've highlighted. It will be our strategic plan, but we're going to call it the action plan.
Very good. Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, thank you for that, Mrs. Murtagh. That was fantastic, and thank you for the year we've had. Just to echo Mr. Amico's points, it was not an easy budget. You led us through that. Thank you so much. And thank you to the team here as well. You know, I know it's all been a busy year for all 3 of you. You not only have kept the ship steady, but you kept it moving forward. And I think that's something to be proud of right now.
Thank
Truly
you.
do.
I thank you. I appreciate that, and I could not have done it without the hard work of Dr. Lord, Mr. LaFleur, Mrs. Gruby, and Mr. Farrell, and the whole entire leadership team. We have a wonderful community with wonderful families, students, and teachers. So thank you for a great first year. And as I stated before, we celebrate our successes and we conquer our challenges. So thank you very much.
Great. All right.
That's it for me.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Written communication. Peabody City Council, June 24th, City Charter Review Meeting Notice.
Excuse me one second, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Mrs. Dunn.
If you could back up 1 second, there is a whole nother document here about the model system for educator evaluation.
Yes, that's something that I gave you with my goals, Mrs. Dunn, and I'm going to present you with another document with my outcomes, but I put that in there for my evaluation.
Oh,
So
okay.
you had the rubric right in hand.
Right, because I know we have to plan out a schedule for that process. Okay.
Correct. Oh, I had to go to the next page, sorry.
Oh, I'm sorry.
On the next page, you have your monthly expenditure report. If you have any questions, Mr. LaFleur is available. Bay State Textiles is all, the monthly report is in there. And Margie is right on top of things, and she has put the draft 2019-2020 school committee meeting schedule in here. And without Margie and Joanne, they're another wonderful asset to our district, so I want to thank them publicly as well. And that's it for me, my friend.
All right. Thank you. All right. Yep. We will jump to written communications. Peabody City Council, June 24th, 2019, City Charter Review Meeting Notice. I believe we have to take any action on that.
No, just written communication.
All right. Subcommittee reports. Education Subcommittee.
Well, while I don't have anything to report from the subcommittee, I will use this as an opportunity to tell the general public out there that the No Child Goes Hungry in Peabody program is continuing through the summer. If you receive a backpack on Fridays and you attend the Welch School, you will still go to the Welch School to retrieve a backpack on Thursday or Friday, and you can see an FKO staff member who will assist you in receiving your backpack at the Welch School. The same is true for the Carroll School. If you go to the Carroll School, please go to the Carroll School Thursday or Friday, see an FKO member, and they'll help you retrieve a backpack on Thursday or Friday. If you attend the West, the Burke, or the McCarthy, please go to the high school. There'll be a staff member at Peabody Veterans Memorial High School who will assist you in receiving a backpack on Thursday or Friday. If you attend the Brown School, you will still go to the Brown School to receive your backpack. And if you attend the South or the Center School, please go to here, the Higgins, also on Thursday or Friday, and you'll be able to receive a backpack. I do want to publicly thank all of the partners that we have developed over the course of the years, 2 years now that this program is taking place, and in particular, because of the summer aspect of it, FKO and Deb Nealon and her staff for assisting with the delivery of food to students on weekends by utilizing their staff at the Carroll and the Welch schools.
Thank you for that, Mr. Hockman, and thank you for your hard work on that program. It's appreciated. Finance Subcommittee.
Yes. Few things to report. We had an executive session earlier, and I want to make mention that we approved For the superintendent, we approved the contract of the new special education director, Carla Chioda. So that was a unanimous vote, and happy to report that. Also, too, I'd like to report that we approved the superintendent. Right now, we're having a tough time finding a full-time business manager, but we approved the superintendent to look at per diem basis for if she finds somebody that's, suits the job. So right now, I think she has somebody in mind, but we certainly approved that. Also, too, we approved unanimously for her to post the job title Unit B Therapeutic Grade 6 through 12 Program Administrator, and that was unanimously approved. Also, too, I'd just like to thank again Mr. Tom LaFleur for all he's done for the past year. It's been a great pleasure working with you, and you're going to be missed, and really sorry to see you leave, but good luck. And I believe that is it.
Thank you. School Safety Subcommittee.
Nothing to report. Oh.
I think we need a vote on the contract. Special ed
Want me to? Okay, we have to take a roll call on the special ed contract. I
Yep.
believe. And the
Motion to
business
follow the
manager.
recommendation of the finance co-chair with regard to, and approve the contract that was negotiated with the new special education director.
Second.
Okay,
Thanks, Jerry.
good. Roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 Recused.
And then we also need one on the business manager.
Do
Motion to follow the recommendation of the finance co-chair and approve the expenditure for the business manager.
Second.
Okay. It's a motion by Mr. Hockman, seconded by Mr. Olympia. Roll call vote.
Yes.
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 And if I can, go back to the special ed director vote. Who's the secretary this year?
Mrs. Dunn.
May I ask you to take the chair so Mr. Arnottis can step down from the chair and vote, as we need 4 votes.
Good point.
So I'm going to move to reconsider on the vote for the special education director's contract.
Do I hear a second? This is on the
Second.
motion to reconsider.
Yep.
Second.
Okay. All right, you have a roll call vote on the motion.
There'll be another one
Mhm.
after this.
Yeah, this one
This is
is
just a
motion to reconsider.
Sorry for the procedure.
No, it's
Oh, thanks.
No, it's good.
not a valid vote. We don't.
Yes.
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 Now, motion to follow the recommendation of the co-chair of the finance committee to approve the contract for the special education director.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Arnottis.
Yes.
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 Okay. Motion's passed.
Athletics and wellness. Mr. Amico.
Mr. Hockman.
Mr. Hockman, come on tonight.
Other than that, the Peabody Babe Ruth is hosting the 15-year-old district tournament up at Peabody Veterans Memorial High School, and other baseball tournaments are going on at this time, like Little League. Go out and enjoy. Otherwise, we're all well.
Quality and standards, Mrs. Dunn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Quality and Standards Subcommittee met this evening from 5 to 6 prior to this meeting, and the topic of that meeting was the attendance pilot policy. The members looked at the policy, which was presented to us at the last meeting by Mr. Buckley and Ms. DeMaria, Mr. DeMaria. And there were a couple of things that we wanted to change, But in general, this policy we felt this was very good. What we're going to do is come to you at the next meeting with a completed document for approval, and that will be for inclusion in the upcoming student handbook and communications to the parents. The issues that were discussed were making sure that the policy, actually this was a suggestion at the last meeting by Mrs. Carpenter, to kind of have a synopsis at the very beginning so that parents and students can see an overview of the policy and the requirements. We also wanted to make sure that we added in its language in the current policy, which is specific about the time period in which students must make up any work that they have missed through being absent or tardy. And we were also going to get some information from the high school concerning the method of notification of parents if someone is absent, just so that we can make sure that the procedure in this policy is accurate for going forward. We are going to recommend that where this is a one-year pilot policy, we want to make sure that we can collect some data, which sounds like we'll be able to get what we're looking for from the Aspen program. And we're going to watch it closely to see how this helps with attendance at the high school. We also discussed, in conjunction with the high school policy, we looked at the elementary school policy as well as the middle school policy to make sure that people are understanding the need for attending school, and also to have a smooth transition for reporting an absence or reporting a tardy. How do you deal with that as a parent? We spoke about making sure that next year we have a rollout of a real, this is marketing. We want to make sure that everybody, K-12, is on the same page about attendance, and that it is absolutely vital. We need to make people understand this. We don't want them to think that it's just, a run-of-the-mill requirement, that this is absolutely a top priority in the district. So we're going to try to have something come out at the beginning of the year, and of course during the year, to make sure that people are encouraged to attend school, that they understand the rules and regulations about attendance, and that we're all working together to make those numbers go up. So we don't have any meetings scheduled now. I'll talk to the members about that, but the goal is to have this brought forward in July.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Mrs. Dunn. Liaison to parent and student advisory boards.
Nothing to report at this time.
Thank you. Building and ground subcommittee.
Nothing to report at this time.
Special education parent advisory board.
Nothing to report.
And there is nothing to report for the liaison to city council and legislative delegation. New business, school committee summer meeting schedule. Mr. Hockman.
Thank you. And I know that during the superintendent's report, Superintendent Mertag provided us with a schedule that she and her staff prepared, and I thank you for that. So I would make a motion to approve the meeting schedule as presented, with the exception of the July 16 meeting. We've spent a lot of time together in the last couple of months for some good and hard work that was necessary, and a big part of that, and I guess I'll dive into my Tom LaFleur thank you at this time. Big part of that was Tom and his team, which includes all of the administration and the staff, support staff up there, for really delving deeply into a very complicated budget that had some deficiencies due to no one's fault, but just years of growth, perhaps. I mean, there's been a lot of growth in that budget, and for good reason. And some cleanup was needed, and that's healthy to do from time to time, and it was the time. So I'd like to thank you for your work on that in particular. And in addition to that, you and I have worked on some projects together, not as many as I'd like because of your talents and your demeanor. You've always presented yourself as a gentleman, and you've always been courteous and respectful of all the committee members that I've seen, especially myself. So I'd like to thank you for that. That's something that maybe we take for granted a little too much, but isn't always present. So thank you for that. So with that, I'd like to make a motion to approve the school committee meeting calendar as presented, with the exception of the July 16, 2019 meeting, and have no meeting in July.
Second.
Okay. Mrs. Dunn?
I will vote against that. I'll tell you why. For one, our policy requires that we meet a minimum of one time in July and one time in August. I also feel that even though, yes, we have been together and we have worked hard on the budget, that we still do have work going forward, and that meeting is very important. I just put the attendance policy on for July 16th because we need to get that in order for it to get in time for inclusion in handbooks and for publication. There is always work to be done, and I truly believe that going forward, because this was such a difficult budget, that we do need to stay on top of things. I think we need to have that July meeting just to find out progress being made with the programs and the changes that are going to result through the cuts. I think we need to make sure that everything is being addressed prior to the beginning of school. So I do believe we need to have that meeting in July.
Any comments on the motion? Do we have a second on that?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I'm sorry. Roll call vote, please.
Yes.
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 No.
Need a fourth vote.
Time to swap, okay.
No, I think you can vote from the chair.
Can I vote from the chair? Would that be basically a tie?
However you want to do it.
Just for the majority?
No, we need a fourth vote.
So we need to swap then? No.
You can vote from.
Okay, I'm a yes.
Mr. Chairman?
Mrs. Dunn?
Then I would like to make a motion that if necessary, we have a second meeting in August in order to address any issues that would be pending prior to the beginning of the school year. So moved.
Okay.
Second.
Okay. Roll call vote?
No.
Yes.
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 Yes. Okay. Okay, so we will jump to foreign language program, high school in Higgins, Mrs. Dunn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is one of the specific questions that I had about the budget and, concerns at the high school as well as Higgins. I just wanted to know what the plan is for the current school year. I've heard anecdotally that 3 languages were cut at the high school, and that was not a vote of this committee. As far as I knew, the cuts we were making with the budget were personnel. So I'd like to know what the plan is for the foreign language department at the high school.
Okay. I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Lord for a second to explain that, and then the plan in place I will move forward with. I'll talk about the, okay.
So when we were going through the scheduling process, the students were requesting a first choice for their foreign language. And intelligently, the team at the high school also asked them to make a second choice. When the requests came through, there was a reduction in, well, there wasn't enough students requesting certain courses, so all those ones that were reduced got to their second choice. So all the students still have a foreign language that's part of what their original selections were. Most of the students got their primary requests, and some did get their secondary request. There was did a presentation to a German class to see if there's some students that wanted to continue based on a meeting we had with a student here a few weeks ago. And we have a virtual high school solution in place for the students to pick up on German so they can get their third, I think it'd be a third and fourth year. There's 2 students that expressed an interest in doing that.
Good, thank you. Okay. And then at the Higgins, I know there was concern at the Higgins level if there's been any possible movement on that. That would be
that would be great.
Yes, Mr. Busey and I are working on a plan, and we do have something in mind, and I will have information for you moving at the next meeting.
Okay,
Okay?
all right, thank you. Okay. I don't have any other questions on those. If anybody else does, feel free.
Okay, we'll move on to the ELL program.
Our ELL population continues to grow in Peabody, which we are very excited about. We have a very diverse population. I'm going to let Dr. Lord, since he's been working with the ELL department, to let you know where we're at. And as we continue to grow throughout the summer, I may be coming forth to you to ask for additional teachers, but right now, I'll turn it over to Dr. Lord, and he can explain that to you.
So the ESL population, there's somewhere between 20 and 25% transiency through the course of the year. Right now, there are an additional 20 students at the high school, more than in the current year. The middle school is about the same, and the elementary schools are about the same. We won't know much more until the enrollment process is completed sometime mid to late August. Then I just talked with the data team today, there's a number of students that need to be tested who have already registered. We have suspicion because of their home language that they might be an ESL student. So it's going to be tough getting a real accurate number. If there's a specific question about the ESL that I can answer for you, I've met with these people every month. Very, very strong ESL program here that are really getting their arms around their kids real well. They've all been trained on the WEDA standards, and they're doing a great job with the kids, screening them and getting them appropriately placed.
How many teachers, ELL teachers, do we have in the district? Or I'm sorry, how many will we have going forward, ELL teachers specifically?
Go ahead.
There are currently 10 at the elementary school, and there are 3, 1 for each grade at the middle school, and there are currently 4 at the high school.
And that's where we're increasing a lot, Ms. Dunn, and we may have to look at another ELL teacher there, depending on the levels as the students come in and get tested.
Right.
We're having 20 additional come from here.
They're already
Up
here
there.
at the high school. There's 20 more at the high school.
Is there a student-to-teacher ratio requirement by the state as far as how many teachers you need per ELL student?
I believe it's 20.
The class sizes are typically a little bit smaller for ESL populations. And just, this is a point of knowledge, the ESL population, the students are typically, each individual student is in 3 and sometimes 4 of the subcategories for the state targets. So every student we can help in that area raises a lot of boats. It behooves us, and actually Peabody's done a great job of getting their arms around those kids in a particularly good way, and the high school's got a very good plan going forward. I'm feeling very good about that. Middle school's already had a good plan in place for that, and there's a very strong elementary program too to get the kids screened and put in the right spot. So we're in a good place going forward, and I'm optimistic about how it's going to come together, but there's a lot of moving parts with this population, and it's a challenge because of all those moving parts, but we got good people in place.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It leads me to another question that is a bit off the budget, but the dual language or bilingual certificate that the state is offering to students, is this something that we could look into for our district?
Mm-hmm.
Because so many of those students are already
Seal it by literacy, yeah.
qualified for that.
Look up the program, yep, we can look at that for you, yep.
Right. And I know that that would be in conjunction with our foreign language department
That's correct.
as well. We heard from a student at our public hearing, which is why her speech generated many of my questions. It was specifically about cutting languages at the high school because we have a process that we follow so that students aren't put at a deficit when they've already invested 3 years in a language. They're looking at their 4th year, and then to take away a language, they can't catch up. It prevents them from applying to the higher level colleges. And it also shows that we have students who come here, English is not their first language, and obviously that young lady wanted to challenge herself. So she was going to be fluent in a 3rd language. And I'm sure there are other students like her. Being able to encourage people like that, being able to tout our program is why I am fighting so hard for the foreign language department, because it's important, it's a matter of
uniqueness for Peabody. Peabody has been noted for this, and our students have excelled in languages. Coming from a comprehensive high school, that's quite an accomplishment. It really is something that we can truly look at as a shining star in our program. I don't want to lose that, and I think we need to enhance it. With the ELL program, I know one of the questions in the budget was we were going to utilize, and it's getting into my next request here about Title I funding, but Title I funding is going to pay for 3 of these teachers? Is that my understanding?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How much does the Title III grant cover? Isn't that specifically for ELL teachers?
No, Title III is for before and after school programs,
Oh,
summer
sorry.
programming. That would be supplanting if I did that in that grant.
Okay.
This is for additional supports before, after school, summer programming. That's what Title III covers.
Okay. All right, and what is Title II? Gonna go through the list.
Title IIA is professional development.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, high
So
quality
there is
professional
no
development.
specific grant that would cover ELL teachers?
Correct.
Okay, all right. With the ELL program and that number of students coming in, are there any other staffing needs that those students require? They have all 4 of their core subjects in their home language, correct?
No, it's a little bit different. Students who test in at levels 1 and 2 are required to have 2 or 3 hours of English language instruction with a ESL certified staff member. Those are the first 2 levels. Then there's levels 3 and 4, which need 2 hours a day. And then the levels 5 and 6 need 1 hour of support per day, which with an English language learner educator. So as they go through the process and they learn more English, they pick up more and more regular instruction in the English classroom. All of the teachers have an SEI endorsement, so they can all, in theory, teach an ESL student, regardless of the subject area. And I think by the end of this year, everybody has to have an SEI endorsement. Anyway, so it doesn't matter where these students land in their classes, they'll be with a teacher that has that endorsement. The ones with specific training, the ones that I work with, are bringing the students through that in that 3 hour a day, 2 hour a day, or 1 hour a day solution. It's part of the reason that scheduling is so complex for the high school and the middle school. The elementary, they pull them out of their English time to do the ESL stuff.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and then, all right, so we have 14 ELL teachers.
16.
Specifically
16.
ELL teachers in the district.
16.
10 elementary, 3 at the middle, and 4 at the high.
4 at the high school.
So that's 17.
17.
That's 17. It's getting late. Sorry, 17 altogether, Ms. Dunn.
That's right.
Okay. And then we have 10 foreign language teachers at the high school.
10. Is it 10? It's 10.
Are the ESL included in that?
No.
Okay. Then,
I want to get that number for you, Ms. Dunn. I want to say it's 10.
Yeah.
But I can't, I don't have it off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Wait a minute, I have my budget. Wait a minute, I have my budget.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
No, it's not this. Oh, well, 10, yes, it's 10.
Okay. All right, and then, I'll let anybody else with questions go ahead.
You have the floor, Mrs. Dunn.
Okay. All right, well, it leads me into the next topic, which is the Title I funding. How is that going to be dispersed, and how is that going to impact, especially at the elementary school level? I know we let go all of the Title I tutors because of the funding. How is that going to be addressed?
So we don't have a complete plan in place because I don't have the allocation as of yet. However, we do lay off the Title I tutors every single year. It has been done for years.
Right.
So once we get that allocation, I'll be able to put a better plan in place for it. But I will have that information for you next meeting because I hope to have the allocation. I'm hoping that they increase the allocation, but I don't know that as of yet.
The reason that I'm asking about that is because
with the Title I funds and the way that we've used them in the district, it has been, it's been a benefit to all the members of the school that is receiving the funds. Now, with those funds being used specifically for an ELL teacher, the students who would have benefited from the Title I funding have lost that benefit. And it's no longer benefiting a large number of students, it's benefiting a smaller number in a very specific way. And that is one of the reasons I want to know what we're going to do before we go into the school year, because it's going to impact on students and their families. And I think we also need to look at some of our scores to see that deployment of specific training, specifically trained people who are working with not just the economically disadvantaged students, but all of the students in a classroom who attend a school that's overwhelmingly economically disadvantaged. Scores were going up. Now we have basically affected their ability to increase those scores, and I don't want to see another downward spiral on that. It really does bother me that this type of a shift in funding, it wasn't just moving money from one account to another, it's changing the deployment of our resources, and it's directly affecting students. And I think it's really going to be very detrimental, especially speaking of the Welch, because I can think of that one the quickest. I knew they had the Title I tutors. How many tutors did we have throughout the elementary level? Do we know that were Title I tutors?
We had four at the Welch, 3 at the Carroll, 2, no, I'm just talking literacy, 2 at the Center, 2 at the Brown, and 1 at the McCarthy. So,
and if all that Title I money is going for ELL teachers,
not all of it, Ms. Dunn. So we're going to utilize that funding. Believe me, I spend every penny. So doesn't Dr. Lord. So we're going to take those funds and make sure that response to intervention is in play. But we're, of course, addressing the high needs populations as we need to. So I will have a better plan once I have the allocation. Believe me, I was the one that brought the tutors on when I was a principal at the Carroll. I said, this will work, this will, the response to intervention is key. So that will be something that I will be addressing, but I can't as of yet until I know the total allocation. And like I said, I'm hoping.
when do those figures come in?
Usually mid-July.
Mid-July.
Okay.
Yeah. So I will have a report for you on that, a report out to you.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Let anyone else have the floor.
Mr. Hop.
Thank you, Mr. Arnottis. Through you to Ms. Dunn. I think we all share those same concerns, in particular with the Title I funding. And my memory was that when provided with the unattractive choice of reading specialists or Title I, we as a committee made a decision to keep reading specialists, and we did through this budget. And one of the ways in which I thought we would be able to keep reading tutors and Title I supports was by asking the bargaining units of the district for a one-day furlough. And we actually took a vote, which was passed unanimously, to invite those bargaining units to the table to bargain for a one-day furlough. So I'll now ask through the chair to Ms. Murtagh, do we know if an invitation to those bargaining units went out? And if so, do we have any meetings scheduled?
It was brought to the table, it was voted, but it has not been brought to the negotiation table yet.
So all of the bargaining units were invited to sit down with the finance committee for the school department to sit and negotiate a one-day furlough?
Not yet. That has not been brought forth.
Okay, so if we can please do that, because that was voted on, and as quickly as possible. And now through the chair to Mr. LaFleur, who I thought might have been done with, some work, at least at this meeting. If that furlough were to be approved, would there be enough funds coming back to the district to reinstate the Title I supports that were eliminated as a result of reallocating that money to the reading specialist, or excuse me, the ELL teacher?
I believe when we looked at this maybe a month ago, we calculated it to be about $240,000 to $250,000 savings for a one-day furlough district-wide, everyone, top to bottom.
Right.
So I'm not sure.
And I think we took about $100,000 out of the ELL grant to support the Title I grant to support the ELL teachers that we were maintaining. So it seems to me that we would have enough money to satisfy the concerns that the whole committee shares that are being expressed by Ms. Dunn, at least through the Title I funding and the ELL program, if that one-day furlough was at least, hopefully passed, but at least negotiated. So hopefully that can take place in the near future so that we can realize that funding before the school year starts, so that we can address the concerns of as many students as possible through staffing.
Thank you.
I agree with that. I do. One other point that I wanted to bring out was, my understanding was the Title I tutors were being used as math tutors.
There's math tutors as well. Off the top of my head, I gave you the literacy tutors. Off the top of my head, I think there's 5 math tutors, but I can't, in my head, tell you exactly where they are right now.
Okay. If we could have that as a reference, so that when the Title I funds, when the federal funds come in, I should say, they'll all come in together, we'll know all those numbers, so that we could look at that and understand what we had and what we've lost, so that we can try to put some things back in for the benefit of the students, because it was working very well. And I believe there's data to back that up. We're going to get the school plans in September?
October. We're hoping to get the data, and they're going to present in October, the later part of October, once we get the MCAS scores back.
Okay.
So I will put that on the agendas for October.
Okay, because we really do need to jump on that. If in October we see areas that need to be addressed, will we be able to address those budgetarily, if need be? If the figures come in at the end of July, and we start on one path, and then we get the numbers in and we look at it and we see that there was a great improvement, I don't want to lose that forward motion. So I would like to see that, and I would like to ask that those reports be given to us as early as possible, because we are actually a year out of line now without the school plans from the past year. We really do need to see that data. We really need to go through it and have a presentation on all of those numbers and the effects that our budgetary decisions have on the deployment of those resources.
You will have those as soon as possible in the fall. It's going to be awesome to be able to see the students sitting in front of us having that data, working with those students right then and there. So you will have those school improvement plans right in the fall, and they'll have the updated MCAS data.
Okay.
Okay.
Good. Thank you. Okay.
Retirements, Mrs. Dunn?
This was a request just to know, under the early retirement program, if we had a number on how many people retired, and my suggestion was that because we'll have a group of people who will retire right now, if we could, instead of making them wait all the way till next June, when we traditionally honor all the people who retire through the year, if we could possibly honor the people from this 2-week cohort of retirees, if we could honor them early in the school year, same fashion that we honor other people, just to be able to have it where they're retiring so close to the end of this year, and it is a different type of situation. So that was something I wanted to request. I don't think we need a motion on that or anything. I'd just like to see if we could do that.
If there's no objection, I would like to actually do that at the August 16th meeting. Is that the date, August 16th?
No.
Oh, that was July 16th, so the August school committee meeting, we'll leave it at that,
Yeah,
the August school committee meeting.
I think that would be timely.
That is a great idea, Ms. Dunn.
Great.
I just think it would be the right thing to do, because you could have someone in a regular year who puts in a retirement in July or August. They already know they're doing that, and they'll get honored at the end of the year. But this group really had to make a quick decision. Their whole life has changed, and I think it would be appropriate just to honor them.
That's a great idea, Mrs. Dunn, absolutely.
Okay.
And,
We'll put that on the agenda for August. Okay.
great.
And then exit interviews. This was something I wanted to ask about. We have had a policy of requiring exit interviews. I want to ensure that those are going to take place this year for anyone who is leaving this district. Is it customarily done?
It has not been done, and that's something that my team is looking into doing. We want specific questions, and we've been talking about it as a team. But I do want to get some real focused questions, because we want the data to improve our district, and why and how come. And so that's something that the team will be working on, and as you know, we have new members coming on, so.
Okay. I'd like to make sure that we conduct exit interviews with the people who are leaving this year, too. So, you know, I know it sounds more of a prospective project where you're going to work on questions and everything and get ready to ask people questions who would be leaving in the future. I want the people who are leaving now to be asked for input as well. Do we know when that stopped?
It hasn't been done in quite some time. I mean, I've been in central office, this is my 7th year, so.
Okay.
So that's something that we'll get back up and running. Okay?
Okay. Mr. Miko?
Thank you. This isn't on the agenda, but I just wanted to thank quickly Ms. Murtagh for going before the City Council and presenting the budget. And I also want to thank the City Council for their complimentary discussion about us and the hard work that, and lots of work that we did to balance that budget. One thing that did come up at that budget meeting in front of the City Council was the parking fee. It seemed like it came up over and over about the parking fee for the students, the $100 student parking fee, which I believe would net us about $40,000 for the upcoming year. I'd like to put that on the next meeting's agenda and maybe discuss that further and see if the budget is fluid, and if we do find some monies, and I know we have other places where we can put that money, but that seems to be, many of the councilors brought that up. So I'd like to discuss that further. If there's any way we can find some monies to waive that at the next meeting, we could take that up. If not, then at least have a discussion about it.
Thank you, Mr. Miko.
Mrs. Murtagh?
Sorry.
No, just on that point, and I'm, through the chair to Mr. Miko, I'm happy to readdress that, and we were both there listening to city councilors talk about that line in particular. But we do have a viewing audience, and I don't want to discourage anybody from paying the parking fee. If we are to take this up and somehow relieve that obligation, I'd rather do it by way of reimbursement and not, I don't want to have skewed numbers. So in other words, at the August meeting, I don't want to hear that there's only 12 parking passes or whatever they are sold, and we're not going to generate any revenue, so we can do away with it, when in fact there's going to ultimately be 140 sold, or whatever the number is. So just wanted to...
Point taken.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr.
Yeah, thank you.
That's a good point. It would be important to folks at home who are watching to not discount that at the moment. I think that will be a lengthy discussion. I do appreciate the council's opinion on that. I think that was a heavy topic at that meeting. I still personally think it was the right thing to do. I know that might not be the most popular thing, but I don't disagree with it, but I'm sure we'll hash that out August 16th. But I don't think anyone should expect any changes before then, and just stay tuned for that night. So we can now jump to Mrs. Murtagh.
So I have two more things. I just want your guidance to make sure that school choice and open enrollment, we're moving forward as, for the 2019-2020 school year, that we're grandfathering everybody that's here in, and I'm looking at siblings and employees. That's the direction I've been given, correct? For both open enrollment and school choice? Yes. Okay. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure, because it's this time now. July 1's coming, so I have to move forth.
Right. And it's the open enrollment, or is it the school choice?
Just open enrollment.
Open enrollment.
Oh, no.
We voted on school choice.
Yeah, the same direction.
Same direction as open enrollment.
Yeah.
Right.
Same, so we're
And-
systematic.
Yeah.
Okay.
And just so the public and people understand that those decisions are very precise because of the capacity of classrooms and our teaching staff. So it is, and I know it is always told to people, there is never a guarantee from
Correct.
year to year of whether you would be able to attend a school under open enrollment. It all depends upon the enrollment of those people in that school district, so.
Correct. Thank you, Ms. Dunn. And applications need to be applied, they need to apply every single year. So,
Right, right.
thank you for
It's
that.
on a year-to-year basis.
correct.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. And the last thing is, I want to thank all of you as we're wrapping up year 1 of superintendency. I thank you for all your support and guidance, and I will always be learning, and my team will always be learning, and but we are here for every student every day, and I thank you all for your support and guidance, and I thank the city council for last week as well. But thank you all very, very much for a great year.
Thank you. And just very quickly, I would like to give my thanks to Mr. LaFleur. I know we're losing him this year. It feels like a very quick year. Might have felt a little bit longer for you, I'm sure. But we appreciate the work. Every time I've come to you, you've been clear, concise, with a straightforward answer. I appreciate it, and I wish you all the best going forward. I think your commute's going to be a little bit better, so enjoy that. I don't know if anyone else has any comments. Mrs. Dunn?
I would like to thank Mr. LaFleur, too. It has been a pleasure to work with you and to learn from you, and the amount of work that you did and the way that you pulled us forward is really, truly something we're grateful for. And I do hope that on your exit interview, that you will tell us the systems, yes, the systems that you had recommended that we need so that we can move into the 21st century with a lot of the financial and other systems that a business manager deals with. You were a wealth of information, and really, your new district is gaining a great, great business manager, and I'm sorry to see you go, but thank you.
Thank you, and as the phrase goes, nothing happens alone. I mean, this admin team here is unbelievable. It's been a privilege to work alongside and with them, for them, whatever word you want to throw in there. This committee, this committee is interesting. I mean, you guys, it's very, very evident how much you care for these kids, and I appreciate that. I'm an outsider, I'm not a Peabody resident, but I can see it every day. It's amazing. You know, there's a lot of folks involved here. I've had a lot of help from City Hall, the purchasing agent, the finance director, the auditor. I mean, there's a lot of unsung heroes here in what we've been able to accomplish. And, you know, not least of all is Jared Stanton, my predecessor. He laid some groundwork for this to happen here. I'm here telling you we pushed it over the edge, but he did a lot of the background work in the past, so my hat's off to him as well. But thank you all. I do appreciate the opportunity, and it's been a great year.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. The items for the next agenda will be handled in the proper course of business. Mrs. Dunn, one last thing.
I did have one for the next agenda. Could we please have a report? I want to ensure that the AP program next year is going to be in place when school starts, especially with the Saturday program. Last year, there was a big problem with that, and it wasn't evident until students and staff were well into the program. I actually don't even know if it was corrected or not, but I want to make sure that going forward this year, that we are full 100% on board and that everything is in line to participate fully in the AP program.
Okay. Mr. Hockman.
And let's start the year off with some heavy lifting. Can we put redistricting on the agenda, please?
All right. Motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.